Hey,
There we go. Now we're good. I do this for a living, can you tell? Hey there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be hailing from. This is the IT Guy Show, live coding, live servering, I suppose. A few days ago, we did a 4.5 hour stream trying to restore a 2.5 year old Matrix server. We got we got into the weeds. We even got ChatGPT involved in some of the in some of the edit or in some of the troubleshooting, and we got really, really, really close. As you may or may not remember, we ran into a certificate issue, and then of course my WordPress site at itguyeric.com is currently hosted. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. That's better. Although doesn't show my lovely face. There we go. Let's see if we can shrink that down a bit. There we go. That'll work. Okay, so as you recall last time we were working on Matrix, and we ended up coming to the realization that my WordPress site, just because I didn't want to deal with it, was actually being hosted as a Namecheap uh, application hosting service called EasyWP. If you just need a basic website, I highly encourage you to do so. I got a discount on a server or on a Turbo subscription uh, last January. So I looked into it, and it would be $94 to renew. And since I'm spending time rebuilding my home lab, it seemed kind of ridiculous to just pay $94 when I pay that in power costs. It feels like. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to migrate my WordPress site from Namecheap hosting to the home lab. We're going to spin up a Fedora server box that'll eventually start building out some Ansible playbooks to manage. We're going to use Podman pods to run the website itself. We'll use my Nginx proxy manager to build a SSL certificate. So once my website is moved over, then we'll be able to feed that SSL certificate into our Matrix server, which should finish up that project as well and save about $95 in the process. So I'm going to take a quick minute here to kind of get situated, share the link out on socials, and then we'll dive into spinning up a Fedora box. All right. I've got the link shared out. We'll see if anybody comes in and hangs out. It was really cool to see a bunch of folks jump on New Year's Eve of all times to watch some nerd play around in his home lab. Um, so first thing we need to do, first thing, let's go ahead and get our Fedora server up and running. That's going to take a minute because we don't have. We currently don't have. I don't have a. Sorry, I'm trying to type in. So I currently don't have a Fedora template, which is something that I'm going to do as part of the home lab build. But since we only have about 7 days until that subscription renews, I want to save that $95, and so I need to get this moved off of. Let's just call this Podman app server. Okay, so ITG, the IT guy, prod, production, PODM. This is just going to be kind of a catch-all for some of the different services that I may run. Now I could. Oh, that's the tab I was missing. Oh no, it's not. It's right here. Now I could use my Unraid server here and just set up my WordPress site that way. I may do that, but for today, I want to do something with Podman. And spin up some services on Podman. So because this will be sort of a generic application server, and since I have the system resources to spare, we'll give it 4 cores, 8 gigs of RAM. We need the OS installed disk. So earlier today, I went up and realized I needed Stream 10 for CentOS. I've got the Fedora server and workstation ISOs updated, so we'll just grab that. We'll give it 64 gigs of hard disk space. That should be plenty. Pretty much everything else I'll kind of keep as it is. We do want to start the VM after creation, so let's go ahead and create it. Should pop up a window here, except it's blocking my pop-ups. There we go. For some reason, it didn't go to the ISO. So let's go to boot manager. Let's grab the DVD. Interesting. Welcome. Oh, that was that was just the Restream bot saying that hey, we're live. Okay, so Fedora server DVD ISO version 41. So it should recognize that there is. So for some reason, it's not booting to the disk. It's always a great way to start. Okay, let's hop over to Jarvis here. No, maybe that's why. So we're in the mount user ISOs directory. Let's go ahead and do it shown, or it's your group rather. Users on everything in this directory. We'll see if that fixes it. Probably have to reboot the VM to get to recognize the. In fact, let's do a force stop. And then let's start with a console. It's a great way to start a project, is have it not work. Okay, so it's still not automatically booting to the device, but it's doing that again. Okay. Nuclear option, because we got other things to do, right? Kaboom. All right, so we're going to add a VM. We're going to pick Fedora. ITG prod, PODM. Four cores, I may back that off later, but for now, I like to have plenty of resources just because I don't want to wait on a system in order to when I've got a lot of things I need to get done. So that should all be correct. So let's go ahead and start the VM after creation. And this time, I'm going to allow pop-ups from my own system here. It didn't, okay. It's still not. Maybe I grabbed the wrong ISO here. So we're going to go to the Fedora project website. We're going to get Fedora. We're going to go to Fedora's server. We're going to go to download now. Oh, you know what I think I did? I'm not running an ARM system. So we're going to grab the correct ISO here. Fedora server, we'll remove that one. Do a double git on the correct one. Oh, goodness. All right, so I need to grab my extra monitor here so I can pull up the chat. So while that's downloading, I want to step away for a moment. Okay, now that now that my ding dong move is fixed, let's go ahead and stop our Fedora server. And let's change out the install ISO to the correct version. Not running ARM, running x86. And then let's start with console. And I saw something else. Let's go ahead and make sure we mark auto start on. Of course, I may have a permissions issue here because it didn't do a group on the new download, but let's see if this works. Hey, there we go. So much better when you actually use your brain. Just to be careful, we'll go ahead and do a group on that file. I put in a couple hours at work today, caught up on emails, scheduled some meetings for next week, submitted my performance review, all that kind of fun stuff. So figured I was here. I wanted to go ahead and get this done. Setup finished. Yay. All right, so Fedora 41, we're going to continue because I do speak of the English. All right, so keyboard set, language support, time and data set, installation, yes. Let's go ahead and fix that host name. Guess technically it should be PDM01, PODM01, technically, right? Just in case. So there's that. Root account disabled, that's good. So let's go ahead and do custom partition because that's how I like to do things. Create them automatically. Oh, interesting. It doesn't put all that in the home directory. Okay, so most of what I need, we gave it 64, so let's put 20 into root, and then it is good practice to do var lib containers. Let's put 10 gig there. I don't think my WordPress site is that big. So, my little trick I showed you last time, put in a random size and it'll auto fill the rest of 52 gigs. We don't really need that much. Let's be careful here and put. I did say this was kind of a generic application server, so let's put a little bit more space into that, and then we'll just make sure we use every last scrape of that disk. We'll make sure that it updates. Yep, 42, 41, 20 gigs in varlib containers. And we're going to go ahead and accept those changes. We'll leave root disabled. Of course, I mentioned that I always create a service account. Super secret password. I'm paranoid as a sysadmin, so I go ahead and make sure to specify that that's always group 1000, user 1000. All right, so to double check, keyboard, language, date and time, root account, user creation, installation source, server edition. Yeah, there isn't really a minimal install, so we'll just go with the server install, custom partitioning. We're good to go. What's nice is now we can just let it run. So while that's installing, I've gone ahead and I like this all-in-one WP migration plugin for WordPress. This is my website here at itguyeric.com. And something that's nice is once I pull this website in off the public internet and put it in my home lab, I can actually hide WP admin behind my firewall. So only if I'm either on my home network or perhaps on a Tailscale on my Tailscale network can I actually access the WP admin page. So that'll be a nice improvement. But I've got this all-in-one WP migration. What's nice is they have a paid version, but if you're like me and just have just a website that is only your only sort of landing page in the world, it's easy enough to just go in and do one. So we're going to export sites. We're going to, let's see, is there just a zip file? I guess just file then. But it's nice because it's super simple. It's click, 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 download, and then import. It's, upload, click, 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 and pretty much done. There's a little bit of configuration we'll have to do after the fact. .233 meg compressed. Let's go ahead and download that. Got a couple of people hanging out in the chat. Appreciate that. All right, let's check on our Fedora installs. Okay, so we're installing kernel modules. I'm kind of torn. Part of me wants to have this running in a virtual machine, but part of me would rather just, kind of put this out would rather just put this in a container on Unraid. Because as I recall here, upload the community applications plugin on Unraid here. I guess I should have checked that beforehand, but hey. But I'm pretty sure there is a. So yeah, the question in the chat is confirming that we're migrating my site over so I can tie the matrix server into the domain. Because that's the problem that we were having the other day. Oh, not Matrix, but that is good to note that there is a Matrix Synapse app. So it looks like there's a few different options. So that could be something we do at some point too. And I'm 99% sure. Yeah, there's a WordPress. It's not. I don't think it's really official. I would expect that to come from like WordPress.org or something, but you know what? I may migrate it at some point, but I'm torn. You know what? Let's install it and find out. Okay, so we need one more ports used by this application, already used by another. Okay, so we need, what did it say? MariaDB? Yeah. I think I've got one of those running already. You know what? I'm changing the game plan. So for those of you hoping to see some Podman stuff, ain't going to happen right now. Let's see. So MariaDB. There we are, MariaDB. So I've got a Nextcloud database, which is something else that's on my radar, is to set up Nextcloud. But you know what? I don't want to have to spin up additional resources. Let's do that. Which one am I using here? Just the standard MariaDB. What I do like is that Linux server has a lot of their stuff on here. But what repository are you from? So let's see. Let's check installed apps, because I think it'll tell me which one I'm using officially here. Yep, there it is. Okay. So it should, yep, install another instance. Perfect. So let's go ahead and luckily it already grayed out my password, so you all won't know what it is. All right, so we'll make sure that this follows the same pattern as the other one. So yeah, sorry folks. Setting up an entire Fedora server right now is not. I'd rather build a Fedora server up correctly using Ansible playbooks and image builder. So we need to pick a different port here. So we'll see 3307 should be available. Generate random password. So we'll call it DB IT guy Eric. Because I may have multiple passwords at some point. Set to yes, generator will be printed in the logs. Docker MariaDB icon logs. So is that the root password? Okay, random root password. Gotcha. Okay, so we'll use the same password as I had before. Make sure that the pathing is the same. Mount user app data MariaDB. Mount user app data MariaDB. Okay, so oh, there we go. I can see Docker allocations. Let's see if 3307. Okay, so it's not on the list. So why don't we go ahead and use that? Unless we used a higher number. Let's do 33007. So just a second here. Question. I had a question on Matrix about what the craziness we're doing here. All right, so MariaDB WordPress, MariaDB bridge shell port, random root password. Okay, so next we need to make sure that those paths exist, because it's weird about user app data MariaDB. Vector-P. Actually, here, let me clear my screen. So we've got actually a website that doesn't exist anymore. And so now we're going to make dir-p. We'll do IT guy Eric and DB. So then we'll have IT guy Eric and IT guy Eric /DB. So now that we've got our paths created, That was really quick. Okay. Now we can go in. And do WordPress. So there's only this one. It's marked as official. Something else I may do is move this to like a static HTML site at some point. But for now, priority is getting off of Namecheap before I get charged $94 and change. So repositories WordPress, Bridge, Shell, port 8080, which is probably taken. Yeah. And so is 8081 and 8181. So we'll do 18081. And then we're going to remove some of these old directories here. User app data WordPress. IT guy Eric. Okay. DB container host, external database container host name. So that would probably be the same IP as this. So yeah, 21, not 11. 11 is the iDRAC port here. Okay. Oh, hey, what do you know? Our Fedora server's done. I might hang on to that server. We'll use it later. Okay, so now I need to go to... So the question is, have I played with Hugo websites at all? And so I have actually years ago. Always make sure you click auto start. That's bit me before. It's been a number of years. I played with it for a while, and then decided that I wanted something a little bit more dynamic. And now the pendulum has kind of swung the other way because now I need my website for people to find me, and that's it. WordPress DB name. And I almost did a boo-boo. Almost forgot to add the port. All right, so that doesn't require all that much. I'm going to grab the DB password, and then we'll kick off the deploy. Yeah, so Mega was talking about how quick Hugo sites load on mobile, and you're absolutely correct. They do. Um, in fact, how much research do I actually do on um, much research do I actually do on my my laptop? Most of it's mobile now anyway, so that's something good to keep in mind here. So we've got a WordPress site. I remember that my uh, database password was actually stored in Bitwarden, so there wasn't anything really to hide. So now we've got that going. Why don't we go over to Nginx Proxy Manager? We'll go to Proxy Hosts, and I already have one enabled there, or one created, so itguyeric.com. This will be for the base domain name. We'll want it to go to port. What port did we end up picking? 18881. Publicly accessible, yes. We want everyone to be able to get to my website. SSL, yes. We'll use the existing March 31st. Let's go ahead and use this one and the other one for matrix. The star dot is really just for internal. I don't recommend using a root level certificate and having a wildcard. I actually don't recommend a wildcard at all, but it's mostly for internal use only. But okay, so let's go ahead, and now we've got the IP and port updated. So let's go ahead and enable that public access. I've got this trusted group for my wife's office and our home network, and blocks everything else, which is really nice for things that only need to be accessed from home. So let's see. I think something I was going to point out was we left I left SSH enabled on my firewall to our matrix server. So I had like 67,000 failed login attempts. So glad to know that my password's still good. So we'll disable that for now. Right now, all of my website traffic, all of my web traffic, whether it's HTTP or secure, goes to my Nginx Proxy Manager, which I may pull this matrix rule out and put it into Proxy Manager as well, just so everything filters through there. Let's see. I think we're ready to check out our WordPress site. So while we're internal here, let's go ahead and just pull that up. Of course, I'm getting chided in the Matrix room saying not to use password authentication. Yes. So I was talking during the previous stream that during my previous stream that this CentOS Linux 7 box is very, very temporary. It's just to get my Matrix server up and running, let it cook for a few weeks, and then once I'm certain it's stable, then we're actually going to do exports on the database, the media store, and the logs, and we're going to build it onto Fedora Linux, probably Fedora server. And yeah, Mega, I love Unify. All of my stuff here is Unify. So we're going to go ahead and fill this in. It'll probably all get overwritten anyway. We'll go ahead and use the default password because it'll get changed. Once we do, yeah, let's discourage that for the moment here. Let's just do the install so everything gets laid out. And then I can do an import. What's nice is all this is behind the scenes. Yeah, Mark, I know. Adding SSH keys is easy. I used to have Ansible playbooks that did all that automatically. So anytime I created a new system, go in, create my user, set up the SSH keys, download my Git repositories. It was really nice. So that was um, it was really nice to have that, and that's going to be one of my projects here in the near future is to reestablish that. So we're going to go ahead and delete the existing plugins here because all we're going to need, we're actually done with that. So what I want is the all-in-one WordPress migration. Yeah, Mega. I use CentOS Linux 7 just because that's what it was running a couple of years ago when I was first starting to dabble with hosting my own Matrix server. So we want the all-in-one WP migration. This is such an awesome plugin. I really should send them a few bucks as a donation because, I mean, the premium version is like $50 or $60, which for just a single standalone website like this just doesn't make sense for me. But I mean, they've helped me move this site around a couple of times, and it's really helpful. All right, so we'll install that plugin. This may be a very quick stream. If we get this working and the Matrix server working, then we'll have got everything done I was hoping to. Have my Matrix server up and running, and I'll be able to uh, and I'll be able to save about $95 a year on WordPress hosting. Yeah, I had SSH keys set up for my Ansible user, for my IT guy Eric user, the kind of my personal user account in my home lab. Certs or SSL keys were really nice to have all that set up just automatically anytime I spun up a new system. All right, so we've got that plugins enabled. So let's go into import from file. This is how easy this is. I love this plugin. Oh no. And I just said that it was so easy. Okay, so I do remember having to do this before. So we need to upload max file size. So let's jump over here. Let's go to IT guy Eric. And we need to edit the WP config file. .php. All right, so I need any set parentheses. Oh, okay, it's not in there. Let's see. But the htaccess file is use our plugin, hosting, contact hosting provider, do it yourself. That's not hard. That's easy. Okay, and just for good measure, let me go ahead and restart that container. Probably don't need to, but it'll make me feel better. And so, yeah, while that's restarting, this is just something fun I've been doing. If you'd like to catch the big show, you can subscribe to my channel. If you're watching on YouTube, you're already there. Just hit the subscribe button, and if you wouldn't mind, hit like on the stream. I was actually able to generate a couple of subscribers from the stream on New Year's Eve, so really appreciate that. And I'll talk about the Fedora podcast here in just a second. Okay, so I mean, we should be good to go here. So let's go back to our all-in-one WP migration. Let's do an import from file, and let's try this again. Look how easy this plugin is. Oh, there it is. Yes, I want you to overwrite all the things. So now it's restoring our database. This will take a few minutes. So yeah, I actually spawned a conversation in the Fedora podcast matrix room, where I'm one of the hosts. So Fedora podcast, you can find us over at podcast.fedoraproject.org. You can follow the live stream, the audio, all of that's there, and all that over at podcast.fedoraproject.org. So Noah Chalaya, the Ask Noah Show, and I are our hosts over there, and we've got some really great episodes. So let's see what we've got here. Installed plugins, all the auto update. Oh, shield security, that definitely needs to be. So it misses things on occasionally, like misses things on occasion, like the shield security needs an admin pin. I don't think I have that in here, so I think it is. Oh, there it is. So like this didn't set up because it needed me to log in, and I can't remember if I got a license for it or not. Yeah, I didn't think I did. So a lot of WordPress plugins are really great about, hey, this is your only site, so we aren't going to do anything to we're not going to make you pay anything. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and go with that. And we will display that badge so people know that when you go to itguyeric.com, you are going through a Shield Security approved account here. Or not account, but website. Then we'll pop back into our plugins and we'll check on things here. Of course, now that I've shown you all the back end stuff of how everything works, I may have to upgrade my security. All right, so let's go back into plugins, double check all the ones that are installed. We'll go ahead and deactivate this all-in-one plugin. Link verification for Mastodon. That's how you get the little check mark on your Mastodon account. Redirection, SEO Press, Shield Security, Statify. So then let's go check our themes here, because I think it keeps some of the old themes installed. So let's go ahead and delete those. So I use the Monster Dark theme, which is built on Design EXO. So we've got to have both of those, but we kind of thin that down as much as we can. Pages, blogs, homepage, portfolio, resume, support. So yeah, all this is looking good. It even pulled in my Statify history, which tells me that on the 23rd of December, 97 people visited my website. Yeah, it even brought over my layout. So let's go check the website itself. Let's make sure that nothing goofy is there. Look at that good looking dude. And then the blog, of course, playing around with different blog formats. So it pulled in all my blogs. My portfolio page works. Yeah, everything looks good here. Oh, so now the fun part. Now we got to swing over DNS. Domain list. Let's go to manageitguyeric.com, advanced DNS. Oh, heaven help us. So we make DNS changes. Because actually, I think name servers, because it's going to be, may not be on the DNS page. I may have to disable the product. Sharing and transfer. Host records. Actually, that may be it. Let's see, CNAMEs, NS records. There's our matrix stuff. Dynamic DNS. Standard name servers. Okay, so it may be that. So if I just create a new record, let's add a new record, it'll be a new A record. So that should be, and then okay, there's that, automatic. Alias record conflicts. Okay, so what we're going to do here, alias record at, gonna make a backup, if you will. We're gonna get rid of you. Oh, please. So new A record here. Let's accept that. And then I can actually delete this home A record and re-add it as a CNAME. All right. And in fact, good suggestion just came in from chat. We're gonna turn that TTL down to 1 minute here for now, just so we can force it to update. Now we're going to need an easy way to make sure, considering we did a, oh, that's interesting. I think. See, I told you. Everything was going great until DNS. It's always DNS. Oh, you know what? That doesn't look right. Main name, forward fort. Spelled right. Which is, what's interesting is it included the port number. So let's do this in a private window. Okay, so that means the DNS worked, but there's a problem with the redirect. So what did I break? So let's look at my Foundry server here. Okay. Yeah, we want it to redirect via HTTP to 18081. Let's see here. Just for good measure, after we made all those changes, let's restart here. So yeah, the restart helped because now it's responding based off of its port and IP address, but Nginx proxy manager isn't forwarding correctly. So there's always the nuclear option, right? Let's add a proxy host, the itguyeric.com, 192.168.1.21, 18081. And we do want to force SSL, so let's save that. So for some reason, it keeps wanting to add that port on. Let's at least check on. Let's make sure it successfully redirects to HTTPS. Unless there's something dumb in here. Minecraft, Matrix, Plex, SSH, Transmission, Valheim, Web. That doesn't seem right. I don't think that's a problem here, but that doesn't seem right. Let's see. Yeah, it's still adding the port into the redirect, which doesn't make any sense to me. So like with Nextcloud, all that's at zeros. Mark says in chat that Firefox kind of does that internally. So let's just grab Chrome because, of course, you can't ever just have one. Can't ever just have one browser. So it's doing that too. Check the proxy and the firewall. That's so bizarre. So let's compare that. To say my Nextcloud config that I know works. Well, I'm going to have to change the DB password now so that everyone can see that. Okay, so let's do one other thing here. Let's restart the Nginx proxy manager. And then Mark in the chat is really, really excited about inspecting the request. Okay, let's make sure that this is up and running. Actually, what about the audit log here? Okay, that's the internal audit log. Proxy hosts, IT guy Eric. All right, let's open a new incognito window. Let's go itguyeric.com. And it's still trying to add the port, which makes no sense to me. Connection to the site is not secure. You know what? Let's go to SSL certificates. And let's make sure it renews successfully. Okay, so it successfully renewed the certificate, so it's not a certificate error. Actually, once again, Mark in the chat makes a good point that it could be that it could actually be a WordPress error, which, gosh, would that be wp config.php? WordPress of the facts. Include this by default. So MM asks that I'm using VS Code as a text editor. Why not use Vim? So funny thing is, I am using VS Code as a text editor, but I also always keep a local terminal and a terminal to my Fedora box, which then has tmux sessions running. Let's see, site host. Let's see, site. So there was this about here, see support article using reverse proxy. Let's check out that site because I think Mark's onto something here. Define force SSL admin true. Although because it is unraid, Vim is not installed, and so I don't have any of my wonderful color coding. Table prefix, define WP debug. If x for proto equals false, server HTTPS is on. This may need to be off. And Mark doesn't look like syntax enable worked. That's the downside using unraid is it doesn't have basic package management. But I think it's this. I think it's this right here. HTTPS on. I think this needs to be false. If server exported proto, and exported proto is false, blah, 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 set on. So it looks like we may need to add this to our Nginx configuration as well. Pass your host name underscore or colon your port. T081. Proxy redirect off. Okay, so that's what the documentation suggested. Was that for the admin page? Okay, so let's open a new window here. Oh, new incognito window, that is. Well, that's a different error. Bad gateway. All right. HTTPS. And then James is asking about the HT access file. Yeah. Good thinking here. Rewrite engine. So it doesn't look like there's anything in the HT access file. That was a good thought there, James. I appreciate that. So now it's not trying to redirect to the port, but now we're getting a bad gateway error. Double check and make sure that I didn't fat finger something. 18081. Yeah, we're good there. So I have a feeling. Oh, Mark, that was a different error. So my guess is that WordPress may be trying to listen on HTTPS instead of HTTP. Actually, there probably is a quick way to check that. So that didn't help either. I was hoping that would at least tell us something, but I have a feeling it may be because WordPress is trying to listen to. When all else fails, ask the Oracle. Okay, let's try and just troubleshoot Nginx, not That's not how that's supposed to look, though. Let's see. So from the admin dashboard, settings general. So it didn't bring over all my general settings. That might be part of the problem. Enter the same address here. So this should actually be. Firefox, you're trying to be too helpful. Okay, so we're still getting that 502 error. And that's not good. Now the web console is just pointing back to Okay, so suggestion in the chat was to remove all that extra stuff we added to the Nginx config and to try again now that we updated the site address. Which now, well, it's Firefox. And we're going to put that Nginx stuff into our notepad just in case we need it again. Hey, now we're getting somewhere. Thank you, James. So now we need to see if we can get into the console to get our actual page up. That's a good sign. Oh, that's right, because we've got that temporary password set. Hey, now we're making progress. Okay. All right, so because we had some issues here, let's run back through. Oh, that's weird. All right, you all saw me import all this. So let's do another import here. Import from file. Okay, so that's weird. Let's see. Oh, because HD access is a temporary file here. It looks like it gets rewritten every time we restart. So we'll have to find a. Oops. But for now. Okay, we're getting close though. That's the good sign. All right. Well, this is restarting. I want to step away for just a minute. I think we're close. Talking on mute. All right, so we had some goofiness there with where we did an import and then all of a sudden all the data was gone. So we're doing another import. File exceeds the maximum upload size for the site, 3 KB. Oh, goodness. Oh, that's why. Interesting. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Let's try this again. There we go. Also, if you don't typo your config file. Yes, we've done this before. You WordPress may not remember, but oh goodness. So a lot of files. Oh goodness. 94% complete. This is the problem when you watch something, it always takes longer. So I wonder if we've gotten to a point now where I might have to restart Firefox in order to get the no, that's a different error. Probably because it's doing a file import right now. You know what? While that's restoring here, why don't we clean up our earlier project? Actually, let's do... So because I want to lock down the Ansible account later and use it for, go figure, Ansible only, go ahead and put that in the no password group here, partly just because I want to do this. Skimming the news headlines, it's just more and more depressing, which is kind of why we're doing this project. So I'm trying to bring more and more stuff in-house. I mean, Apple just agreed to a 95 million US dollar settlement because Siri unintentionally recorded private conversations. Now, while I am heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem, unintentionally, oh yeah, we just wanted it to record everything. It's just the technology landscape just gets crappier and crappier because I mean, think about it. I have Pi-hole running and I still get ads. The internet experience, the native internet experience is so miserable. I mean, I have this huge screen that I carry around in my pocket. And when I'm doing research for a podcast or reading a news article or just anything, it's like you pull up a website, and I use Firefox for iOS. You pull it up and you go to newswebsite.com and you read an article and you have to click through the cookies. You have to accept all the crap about all the cookies and how they're going to use your data, and they're probably going to do whatever they want with your data anyway. And then on top of that, then you've got the ad across the top. Then you got the video that pops up in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Then you've got more ads in the middle of your I mean, it's constant. It's miserable. And I just using the internet is so depressing anymore. I don't know how people navigate without Pi-hole. So yeah, just news headlines are frustrating. My random rant is we're waiting on a restore and package updates to run. And since we're not going to use this right now, go ahead and turn auto start off. Let's check on WordPress here, make sure, yep, auto start is on. MariaDB WordPress auto start is on. I don't know, folks. I'm starting to think that this restore might have buggered up. I just got called out for using my MacBook. So I've been off work for the last week or two. This morning, uh, I guess to back up a little bit, I've been off work for a little over the last week, and so here at my desk, I've got an external mouse, external keyboard, uh, ultra wide monitor, all the things, and it's all hooked in through USB-C. And because I've been off, the last thing I did, I tried to be offline as much as I could, reading books and playing Nintendo Switch with my family and whatnot. So my desk here just had my MacBook set up because that was the last thing I did. Was I kind of wrap things up for the year for work, and um, and so anyway, just I guess long story short is that I really just used my MacBook because that was what was plugged in. This is my work machine, and I'm just doing some. I did some work this morning, checking emails, updating my calendar, all that good stuff to just because my first official day back is Monday, so just making sure that everything was ready to go. I had my MacBook hooked up, and I wanted to get this WordPress site moved, so it was up, it was running, didn't have any updates, so I ran with it. But Mark, I am hoping to buy a new personal laptop sometime this year, and with it, a more time spent running Fedora than Mac. All right, it didn't take nearly this long last time. I'm kind of ready to restart the container and try again. Clean up some of the windows here while we wait. But yeah, I have a feeling this crapped out. Redis library not found. Reinstall Redis cache plugin or delete the object cache.php. That's lovely. That's not something you want to see with a container. So I didn't think it might have been easier to set up that Fedora server. Oh, which I'm not sure why this reminded me, but we can actually go over here and we'll need these here in a little bit. We'll go ahead and download the certificates from Let's Encrypt because we'll need that here in a little bit. Still getting that Redis connection error. So what we're going to do is we're going to redeploy the container, but I want to have that open so that I can see how we set this up. Bye-bye. So Mark, what kind of laptop are you thinking about getting? All right, so let's go ahead and So bridge shell 18081. We're just going to copy pasta all this over. Of course, now you all have seen my DB password, so I'll have to change that later. Okay. Yeah, I'm running 16-inch MacBook Pro M2, and I never hear it make any noise. It's fantastic. All right. I've got my eyes on an AMD powered 16-inch framework laptop. But that's if my family attorney doesn't take up all my dollars first. Okay. I don't want to have to. I may have to delete the database as well. I don't even know why it's looking for a Redis connection. Must be part of the container. It's interesting. It says not available. Oop, not the console. I want the web UI, which redirects to. That's interesting. All right, I'm going to have to delete the database as well, I think. Actually, wait a minute. That's in Firefox. Let me pull up an incognito window. Yeah, error establishing a Redis connection. That's ridiculous. So when all else fails, just start from scratch. MariaDB WordPress, bye-bye. And IT guy WordPress, bye-bye. Oh, goodness. That's what I get for thinking this was going to be quick and easy. Yeah, famous last words indeed. Okay, brand new database. Well, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. This is a lot longer than I was expecting this to take, especially considering we ditched the especially uh, especially since we ditched the Fedora box. So Mark is enjoying a glass of Spanish red wine. I'm kind of jealous. It's 15:24, so 3:24 p.m. A little early, I think. So enjoy that red for me. I might have a bourbon later on tonight after all this. So now that we've got our database reinstalled, in fact, we're going to take this a step further here. We're going to remove all of this. 10:24 p.m. in Berlin, dude. you, you don't have to hang out watching a WordPress install at 10:30 at night, but hey, I appreciate you hanging out. All right, so we deleted all the data. So let's recreate this. Of course, I didn't delete all the stuff out of the database directory. Just going to copy pasta all of this over. Just go ahead and use the same database password since that one's already in public eye. Cleaning up your NVim config. Gotcha. New month, new demand from the family attorney wanting more money. Gotta love it. I guess I should qualify that a little bit. My co-parents has been hiding my children from me for months and trying to get them back into my life. Okay. So we're going to think positive thoughts here, and we're going to go to IT guy Eric WordPress DB and the WordPress site. Make sure they're both set to automatically start on boot. That's not what you're supposed to do. So let's try this again. Please load. Okay, that's a good sign. Now what we're going to do, because I know we'll run into this issue here, so we're going to We're going to go ahead and fix oh, that's interesting. It was still in there. Oh, I didn't remove all the .config files. So the HD access file hasn't changed, but that may be okay. So let's restart after we made those configuration changes. Okay. Refresh our page, make sure it still loads. I appreciate that, everybody. It's been a rough few months. All right, so we'll try WP admin. Doesn't support a secure connection. Never seen that before. Okay, wanted a database upgrade for some strange reason. Nope, nope, that's the database password. Oh, you know what? We had a temporary password there, didn't we? So we haven't set up a... So Mark says, fun fact of the day. Do you want to know why star doesn't include the dot files? Because dot is the current folder. We didn't set up a... You know what? We didn't delete all the database files. So I wonder if this is the account that we imported. No, it's not. But we don't have email set up. Yeah. Gotta love it. Oh. So we're going to do what we should have done and delete the database files. I don't know what the password would be. I don't think it would be in the logs, and now there's all this other stuff in here too. Oh, and we've restarted the we restarted the container, so we're not going to know what the so even if it printed that user password to the log, it's not going to be there anymore. Okay, so we haven't made any changes here, so maybe we can just delete everything under here. All right, so we may be able to just stop this. Delete all that. Stop the WordPress container. Oh, no. Oh, we just started the... Oh, no, wait, that's right. MariaDB. We want the database to start. And then the WordPress site to start. Hopefully it'll just go, oh, there's nothing in here. Let me update the database. Oh, nope. Okay. So, no biggie. We can do WordPress, IT guy Eric. Remove all the things again. And then if we restart this container. I was thinking maybe I'll load this time. Hey, there we go. All right. Now I'm starting to remember why I had WordPress hosted on Namecheap. Because I didn't want to have to deal with all this on my production website. But it's all right. Once this is up and running, we just won't touch it, won't look at it, won't think about it, and it'll be fine. I don't know if some people stage their live coding sessions or if they do it as off the cuff as this is, but I don't know. So if you do any live coding on YouTube, let me know what you think. And to Mark's and my conversation, if you're looking at getting a new piece of hardware this year, what are you looking for? Okay, so we need the all-in-one something migration. All this just because of some SSL certificates. There it is. Feel like Circle should sponsor all my live streams. So if you drink a lot of water, you get tired of the taste of water, and so anyway, drink a lot of water, and so I end up I like the flavored waters that Circle puts out. All right, so it's running super slow, but that's okay. It'll catch up. All right, so we've already adjusted the file size, so this should work. So once again, I didn't delete the HTX. Oh, for crying out loud. That's what I get. I just shouldn't speak. Yeah, interesting. All right. Then we need to restart the container again. Refresh the page. Maximum file upload size 520. I guess I could have looked at that and gone, oh, that's not going to work. But that's okay. Yeah, Mark likes to do a DB dump and resync all the files. I don't say I blame. I don't blame you at this point. Usually this runs pretty much flawless. Okay, so we're preparing to import again. Yes, I know. Yes, please overwrite all my things. But hey, at least we know the DNS is working. And Nginx, which Neil Gompa were here would tell you Nginx and I do not get along. Oh, that's a good point. We can update the TTL on this while we wait. just put this back to automatic since we've got the right IP address. I want to have to reconfigure the dynamic DNS at some point here in the near future. It's Google Fiber in the 3 years we've been here, 3.5, almost 4. Google Fiber has only changed our public IP address once, but it took me forever to find out that was what the issue was. So it's done activating MU plugins. What is that? University of Missouri? Please do not close your browser or this import will fail. If anyone's interested, you can go find me on eBay at itguyeric.com. I've got a couple of Dell R730s I'm trying to offload because OpenShift no longer supports Dell R730s. I would like to run a home-based hardware bare metal OpenShift cluster for some of the work I'm doing for my day job, but with our current financial situation, with things just getting more expensive and not less, having to offload some of the old hardware before I look at buying new. Now, if you're done activating those plugins, then move on. Status messages always crack me up. I don't know about y'all. So you can actually catch me on the IT Guy Show. We've got about 8 episodes out. I'm hoping to record some new ones here in the new year. But I am actively producing episodes along with Noah Chalaya of the Ask Noah Show for the Fedora podcast. So if you're interested in Fedora Linux, definitely check out the Fedora podcast at podcast.fedoraproject.org. We just published episode 43, and episode 44 is on its way out. I actually dragged Mark into our Matrix room from the Fedora chat. Okay, so Mark likes Fedora KDE. I got no problems with that. I've been a GNOME user because I came to Fedora Linux from macOS, and the experience was fairly similar. So I do enjoy Fedora GNOME. But I have been known to switch over to KDE from time to time. And in fact, if I could get my configuration files set up with Ansible, that way I can, if I get tired of one, I can just run Ansible playbooks and replace it with the other. That'd be even better. I'm getting chided for some self-promotion. But hey, I mean, I'm a podcast host. I'm used to streaming live, so you got to fill that dead air somehow. Why not share some decent content with folks? Mark, thank you for being a member of the KDE SIG. That's awesome. So you definitely are familiar with Neil Gampa. He's been on the Fedora podcast a few times. I don't like how it just runs and runs and doesn't seem to have any problems and then gets hung up. This is what happened last time and gave us our weird Redis error. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to step aside for a minute while this runs, and hopefully after a quick bio break, this will be done and we can finish up this project. Actually, I will step aside. We'll see if this works. And if it's still stuck, we'll leave it for a bit. But because DNS is updated, we shouldn't have any problems fixing our Matrix server. So let me step aside for a minute, and then we'll dive into our project from the other day. All right. So I'm paranoid to navigate away from this at all. But what we can do is we can shift gears a little bit and let that see if it'll sort itself out in the background. So this hasn't really... All right, so we're on our matrix box here. And so we need to go to matrix, SSL, archive. Oh, config, archive. And go to matrix. Okay, so there's the old ones. So let's grab the URL. Okay, so for those of you that weren't with me on New Year's Eve, I've got an old install on my, well, let me get this upload going here. Certificate root at TRX. It's a problem with Home Labs. So if you want to speed run, set up a question in the chat here. If you're going to speed run the setup of a matrix server, I would recommend going the route that I did, which was... Hold on here. Let me kick off this upload 167 because for some reason Pi-hole isn't doing DNS recognition at the moment. So I used a set of Ansible playbooks. I'll put that in the chat. GitHub matrix docker deploy. There we go. And so what's great is there's this matrix docker Ansible deploy, which you can just follow through their instructions. And they've got support for Synapse, Dendrite, conduits, Element Web, different database backends, that kind of thing. You basically just configure the Ansible playbook a little bit and run it, and you get a fully working matrix running in Docker. They do support Fedora and they do support Podman. So this is what we're looking at here is a very old matrix Synapse install from June of 2022 was when I took the last update. And so what we were doing the other day was I rebuilt a CentOS Linux 7 box. Yes, it is end of life, but I wanted to set up the exact same environment. I had all the matrix files, the database backup, and so we went through this whole live stream the other day, about 4.5 hours trying to get Matrix up and running. And so what happened was we ran into an issue that I couldn't export the Namecheap WordPress SSL certificates. I couldn't export those from my main website, which was one of the drivers behind moving my WordPress website to my home lab. So now, so now I've got the actual certificates from the new home of my WordPress website if it ever finishes importing. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to see if this will work now with the right certificates. Okay, so we've got the active certificates installed. So now what we need to do is we need to go in and re-enable that SSH port for now, so I can find a workaround for it. And then we need to go to root do matrix. This matrix server used to live out on DigitalOcean, thus the DO, and then go into the actual directory here and run start command. It may actually already be running, so we may have to do a stop and then a start. Meanwhile, let's check on our WordPress. Oh, goodness. Appreciate y'all hanging out. It makes this a little less dull having someone to talk to. Okay, so while that's running, there was a Federation check thing. There's a website you could go to for Server Federation to make sure it was working correctly. So Mark says I should consider doing pairing sessions live. Say more. Mega says remember some shenanigans about notifications and if someone is typing thing. I don't recall anything, but that doesn't mean much. I'd kind of gotten away from Matrix entirely for a while, but kind of coming back to it here. Okay, so we had an issue with the start job. Okay, yeah, so some things were running, some things were not. So we're going to do a stop. We'll stop everything. We'll start everything while I find that URL. We don't need that actually because we're not doing a Podman pod today. Okay, so Mark means having someone on the show with me, not necessarily coding side by side. So I've actually been thinking a lot about that, and if I could find guests to do so, I'd love to have someone come on the show, do like a full blown podcast episode where maybe someone who works in Matrix, maybe someone who works for Element, come in, talk about what Element is, talk about how it interacts with Matrix, talk about some of their offerings, that kind of thing, and then immediately following that, doing a live coding episode where that person helps walk me through, setting up a Matrix server from scratch, or something like that, for example. And yes, Mega, I've got Element client is the client. Maintenance checking services, register users. I thought I had it open, but there is a website I can. Oh, there it is. Hey. So now we've got that website. So once. Okay, there we go. We got some things changes, or we got some things that change. So let's do a start and see if that works. So the hope is with this Matrix server, if this works, I should be able to send messages to and from that account. Um, and then we'll let that cook for a few weeks. I want to make sure everything's stable, clean up any old rooms or any old media content. And once I'm certain that we're in good shape, we'll take backups and we'll do an export on the database, and we'll do a clean install. Because while I really do like this Matrix Ansible playbook repository that I put in there, that I put in the chat. It works really nice, but it doesn't work the best with Podman. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a Podman build, um, where I'd kind of build my own Podman pod, or maybe and running that on Fedora server, which is something that I can easily was not detected to be running. So we'll kind of see what happens there. Yeah, and Mark, that's something I'm definitely thinking about is, do I want to do Kubernetes or OpenShift or K3s or what's the OpenShift clone? Is that OKD? But so Matrix. I bet I know what's wrong. Archive Matrix. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. So we want Matrix star. Okay, let's see if that works. Then we can go back to root do matrix docker. Okay, we'll do a stop all and then we'll do a start all. That should fix that issue. I'm really worried about this. It's definitely stuck. I got that Redis error again. Poo-poo. Yeah, it's throwing that p-redis error again. So I may have to fix that later. Nice. So Mark just finished migrating all of his Vim settings to NVim. I'm kind of curious, Mark, what made you want to switch? All right, there we go. We got everything to start. It was a file permissions issue. Connection report success. Hey. All right, so let's go to elements.itguyeric.com and let's sign in as Eric. All right, backups, matrix. Persistent storage, we don't need that. So let's, oops, wrong window. NVim supports Lua. Oh, that's cool. All right, so now let's start a new chat and let's see if we can talk to ourselves. Sure, I did that right. That doesn't feel right. May need to create a new certificate that supports Matrix and itguyeric.com. Man, I'm just not having good luck today. We'll run the self-check here and see what happens. Okay, so matrix.itguyeric.com failed, changed false host name. So Matrix is running, but the API, the Federation API is not working. Let's see if it's as simple as adding a rule in the firewall. Goodness. No, I definitely remember why I hosted my WordPress site on Namecheap. Okay, so it says that matrix.itguyeric.com doesn't match itguyeric.com. Oops. Okay, so the Nginx proxy is working. See if it's working the other way. On 67, 8443, that's right. Or 8448, I should say. Yeah, so oh, that's WordPress. We don't need that right now. Yeah. We did a stop all and a start all, didn't we? And stop the firewall. Oops. I don't think SE Linux has anything to do with it. Oh, lordy, lordy. All right. So Mega asks, if I'm self-hosting this on a VM on top of Unraid, you're pointing the domain at your home IP? Yes. So matrix.itguyeric.org or matrix.itguyeric.com points to my home IP address. And then in Unify here, we've got 8448 directing to .167, which is this ITG old matrix. Let's see. So can't find any rooms. But the Federation tester says it works fine. But clearly it's not. I wonder if that... See, I wonder if the public URL should be itguyeric.com instead of matrix dots. Yeah, see there, matrix domain is itguyeric.com, which is what I would expect. We'll try and rerun an install all, which Mega, I think you were asking about quick way to get started. What's nice is you can rerun that command as many times as you want because Ansible only changes certain things. Ansible only makes changes if there's changes to be made. So Mega says that they haven't used Ansible before. Well, I have a great getting started guide on my website, but the website's down right now. Okay, so we got green check marks everywhere. I'll try inviting myself to a room again. It's still not working. So somewhere I've got something defined as matrix.itguyeric.com when it should be itguyeric.com or vice versa. All right, so since this is in plain text, sorry, but you all don't get to see this. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm going to try and create a Let's Encrypt certificate that handles both itguyeric.com and matrix.itguyeric.com, and we'll see if we can't bypass the issue. All right, so my wife is calling. Give me a moment. And I just realized that I'd been talking on mute for a minute. Go figure. Let's hope this works. So question in the chat is if I've ever worked with Splunk, and no, I haven't actually. All right, folks, I'm running into all kinds of issues here on both the WordPress and the Matrix side. And wife's not feeling really good, so uh, think I'm going to go ahead and call the stream here, tend to my family, and try this again maybe tomorrow evening. But stay tuned. One way or the other, I'll put together a stream or a post or something to let you all know what came of it. But until then, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate the support, the troubleshooting, and thank you all for joining me. Make sure to give this a like. It helps boost the good old algorithms there, so more people find my channel. Until